Welcome back to the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, if you're not already a subscriber, please hit the red button, subscribe to our page, and don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss one moment of the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. I know that these guys in here, I can already tell, Jacob, Jimmy, I know you guys are upset. I am about to have one of these recruits in here, though, real quick. So before we get too crazy, let me talk to this guy a little bit. We're going to talk to him about his experience there at the Palace a little bit. So you guys go easy, okay? Do me a favor, all right? All right. So I am going to bring in now. He is the quarterback of Oakland High School in Tennessee. They were top 10 in the country a year ago. They were top 10 in the country a year ago, undefeated at 15-0, and then obviously won the state championship. They are now one game away from their second straight state title. This is a kid who has lost a total of 3 games in his entire career as a quarterback. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Cade Hewitt. Cade, how you doing, bud? Nice to see you.
I'm doing good. Nice to see you too.
Cade actually brought in he was brought in he got a visit today from Oklahoma. These guys were top 10 in the league last year. In the whole country. So talk to us a little bit about what this was about for you to come in and get to go to a place like Oklahoma right off the bat. I know with your recruitment, it's been a little different, even though there's a lot of guys that seem to come out of Oakland. It's a solid program. So,
yes, sir. It was really just about the experience. This was for sure the biggest school I had gone and visiting for a game day visit. But it was really just go see that different level. I've been to smaller schools and seen the culture in that, and I went and got to see a little bit bigger stage for sure today.
Yeah. And what was it? Was first class treatment, huh? Kind of going there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So his teammate, and I think he's a sophomore, correct? Avery Hainsworth. And for you folks that know, Albert Hainsworth, former professional defensive lineman, I believe he was one of the best in the game for a long time. It's his son. He did receive an offer from Oklahoma today while they were there, but this has opened up that recruiting a bit for Cade, and he definitely deserves it. This is a kid who is up for Mr. Football in the state of Tennessee, 6A state champions. He's been knocking off those teams that are coached by like the guys like Trent Dilfer and some of those guys over there. So this is the man. I'm going to show you guys a video here in just a second of Cade here, but just to talk to him a little bit about your season. So coming off of a big win last night, tell me a little bit about this win over Blackman. You guys go out there, and it looked like it was your dad was sending me texts for a while. It was just back and forth, but you end up winning 48-23. Tell me about the game.
We had saw them in the regular season, and I think we went out and showed our dominance that first game in the season against them, and we weren't expecting anything but their best in this game, and sure. I think we got the first half, and it was back and forth like you said, and we were able to break away in that second half. I think that was a big key factor for Oakland.
Yeah, definitely. And some of your teammates that you've had over the last couple of years, you've played with some amazing players, but talk about this program, because you guys have been putting up. I was looking, it looks like you guys have won state 4 or 5 times in the last 6-7 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
That's I believe it's 3 in the last 4 years.
3 in the last 4. 3 in the last 4. This is Tennessee 6A football, folks. We're not talking about New Mexico high school football, which Cade, you know a little bit about that. Cade actually comes from New Mexico, real near to where I am right now at the moment. And talk a little bit about what the differences were for you going out there and playing in these academies and doing some of that kind of stuff.
I think just the overall work ethic, the coaches bring the energy and they really set the tone with the expectations and, just how, like, the way of the Oakland Patriot. I think that goes a long way as far as how hard we work. And, we talk about Chip Nobody, nobody really feels sorry for us. We've always got this target on our back, and we continue to prove why we have that target on our back every single week.
Yeah, definitely. And so who do you have coming up in this next one?
We play Maryville this week at home.
Okay, and so tell me a little bit about them. Have you played them this season already, or?
No, sir. So last year we broke their home game playoff winning streak, which was like 20-something years they hadn't lost at home in the playoffs. And so Oakland and Maryville always go back and forth. They lost to Maryville, I think, in 2019 at Maryville in the playoffs. And we ended up beating them at their place last year to make it to the state championship last year. So that was, going off of that win, they're going to be hungry. So we just got to make sure.
Wow. So this is probably so this is for the semifinals. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, guys, obviously, and these are all Sooner fans that are on our show usually, pretty much. So guys, this is a guy that he kind of got overlooked, and there's a few guys, and that's part of what I do as a content creator has been to try to kind of get some of these under the radar, which I have a hard time understanding why you're under the radar, because as you guys are about to see, I'm gonna share the screen here with you and present his. We're gonna show his film, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, what happened? Uh-oh. Stand by. Oh, man. Well, having a technical difficulty, gentlemen. Hold on one second. Oh, crap. There we go. All right, I'll restart here. Man, this throw right here was just unreal. Look at this. And folks, you guys, you're talking a little bit. I know with Dylan Gabriel, everybody's upset a little bit about Dylan Gabriel and his inaccuracy tonight. But it happens. But this kid, look at this. This is one of my favorite throws that it's rarely, I haven't seen you make a bad throw. But, I mean, that one right there, you were in real, look at this, guys. You're going to love this one. He just runs through people. No, it wouldn't be, James. It would not be a live stream without tech problems. Nice throw there. And that's the thing is, I mean, this is, folks, I think part of the reason why that you have been a bit under the radar, and we talked about that with your dad. I've talked to him a bunch, but that's another amazing throw there. I like this one too. This was on the money. Yes, we're going to talk about the game, Jimmy. We're definitely going to talk about the game. But he was there at the, and we wanted to, I want to get kind of his feelings on what the recruits were thinking about everything too. So, he is starting to get some traction, as a matter of fact, too, from this. As you can see, guys, this guy's a polished player. He's lost a total of It's got some Mayfield going on. Well, that's hey for Oklahoma fans. If they're calling you Baker, that's a good thing. Yeah, we're definitely. Man, look at this. Just stiff arming them. There's the one that's coming up. I think this one of the ones I like where you get to the sideline and you just kind of bowl right through the guy. That was an amazing throw too. Cade, you're a heck of a player, man.
I appreciate
a player. And so you have a little brother also. So tell us about Deuce a little bit. He's one of your linemen, correct?
Yes, sir. He's my. Last year he started as a sophomore as my left tackle, and this year he kind of goes back and forth with being my tight end and my right tackle this year. But right now he's at right tackle because we've had our right tackle got hurt against Blackman the first time we played him.
Wow. Okay. Well, okay, we're gonna stop that screen share. Now, tell me what. I mean, you got to interact with some of those guys that were there. This was a big recruiting day for Oklahoma. Obviously, it's a good thing with them winning, I would think. What do you think it was? What was your feelings around the rest of the guys? How was Hainsworth feeling about his offer?
He was excited. I mean, I was standing there right next to him as Coach Murray, gave him the offer.
DeMarco.
Yes, sir. But I mean, it was just the energy was there. Everybody was excited. I think even for those big guys, I think, they were looking forward to it, big-eyed. I mean, it was a great atmosphere, and I think everybody enjoyed it.
Good deal. Well, I know you guys are traveling and stuff, and I wanted to I thank you so much for coming on. We're definitely working on your recruitment as well. Your dad's done a great job with you. You guys have done a great job, and I know the main thing that when I started talking to your dad, one of the things that impressed me the most was that he said that he brought it up to you and you just said, hey, you know what? I'm going to go win the state championship and we'll worry about it after that. I thought that's the right thing to say. We wish you good luck and congratulations on your success as well, Cade.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, fellas. Fire away. Obviously, 28-13 win for Oklahoma tonight. I don't think that Cade is probably going to end up at Oklahoma. It didn't sound like, but to get that visit is big for a guy like him that hasn't been recruited correctly. And there's a lot of those guys out there. For any of you guys that follow me on Twitter, there's some other recruits that I've been trying to help because there's so many that are falling through the cracks here. There's a guy right now that has led the entire area around San Antonio, including, Evans. He's doubled up Evans in catches, yards, and touchdowns, and yet he isn't even being recruited yet. I know that you guys need to go on my Twitter and check that out. So yes, hey, you know what? I'm going to agree with you on this, but listen. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This game, it just seems like it's just one of these deals that it's almost like the rest of them, folks. It just seems like they do good for a while. It's just a lot of inconsistencies. You get a lot of ridiculous penalties at the wrong times or just mental errors and stuff like that. And then whatever was going on with the offense, I don't know if it was play calling. I mean, what are you guys thinking on it? I mean, let's see. Don't get me started on Captain Overthrow. Jake, obviously, and the receivers, Satterfield saying. So what are you saying about the play calling there, Jimmy? What is it that I felt like they definitely should have been running the freaking football in the second half. And I'm with you on that. I would say that, but I'm not one of these. I'm not going to sit here and destroy Jeff Lebby. I'm just going to tell you that they have had to carry the way for most of this season. So the defense can, if they had to tonight, good. You know what I mean? It's not something that really bothers me. Now that being said, I'd like to see them. It just seems like there's something up with this game plan that it just doesn't seem right. There's something missing, and it always seems to come up at the wrong time. let's talk a little bit about. I mean, there's been some crazy. This is a crazy day in college football. The good news for everybody, for all the sky is falling folks that are here. Yeah, yeah. Sooners win. I will take it too, because right now this was, I brought on Cade just so that everybody understood that it was an important day for Oklahoma football. And even just having that one quarter where they blew up on them like that, these guys were impressed with what they saw. And to be honest with you, I don't know how many of you guys saw the video from earlier where I was talking about it. Definitely needed to run the football in that second half. I'm going to agree with you on that. What I would tell you is, if there was a bunch of All-Americans on the team and they're undefeated, are you getting these 5-star guys that are going to want to start next year as immediately? And on top of that, NIL and transfer portal and all that stuff that's going on right now, this is all new to everybody. So I'm with you that once they get up 28-0, I would like to see them run the football a little more myself. I'm with you on that. What I would tell you is that it was an important day to get a win and to come out, and that place was electric the way it was to start off the game. Yeah. Listen. But seeing James, okay, I'm with you on that. So the thing about that is with the RPO, you've got to have something else in there besides that, because that's where you need to have some design. It's a run play. You need to run the football, because if Eric Gray isn't getting the football more than he got it today, and particularly when you have a lead like that and you're watching, as these guys are starting to make a comeback, thankfully the defense did kind of step up tonight. That was a good thing. I'm going to give you that. But again, with the way things have gone this season, I'm just happy that they came out with a win. It was an important day. I feel like, they're going to end up maybe they get a flip out of this deal. I feel like it's as bad as everybody wants to act like it is in Oklahoma. You got to realize that it's a lot worse in College Station right now, folks. A lot worse. So they didn't even fill up the stadium today. Of course, they were playing UMass or some crap like that. But listen, yeah. Well, obviously we got a different offense right now, Rory. That's the one thing I'd say about that. They're not running the zone so much, and they're doing a lot of that RPO, and it's worked really well for Eric in the last 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, what he's had, I think coming into today, he had 4 or 5 games in a row where he had 100 yards. Nobody really does that around Oklahoma unless your name was Adrian Peterson. Of course, he had like 8 in a row or something like that. But so that's, I would say that whatever's going on, I think that the big, he's been dominant. He really has, But listen, when they get out there and you get started with Dylan throwing the ball the way that he was, I mean, shoot. And then he ran the ball well as well, pulling it back in and then taking it himself. He had a couple of touchdowns in that first half. He had he had 1 touchdown running and 2 passing touchdowns in that first. I mean, the first quarter, 28 points they put up. Obviously, you would have liked to have seen them, go ahead and put the thing away a little bit after that. I'm with you, though. It could have been worse, though. Looking around the country, folks, get ready. Spencer Rattler just knocked off Tennessee, and it wasn't even really close. 63-38 win over South Carolina puts 63 points up on Tennessee. Tennessee loses Hendon Hooker in the process. Looks like he may have torn something up, man. It did not look that good. But Spencer Rattler goes 30 of 37 for 438 yards and 6 touchdowns. That might be the first time I've ever seen that guy in a big game like that come up that big, against a really good team. So, hey, listen, I'm telling you that I'm with you on that, James. The one thing that we've wanted is, I know that from week to week, we're hoping that we're seeing some kind of improvements. last week you did see the defense was starting to play a little better. The mistakes that were made at certain times of the game or what got them beat at West Virginia. Same thing against Baylor. That, just the little things, and, you give up almost, what was it that they gave up? Yeah. Coach Roy Ball, there he is. I knew he was coming to talk trash. Yeah. They did, but then they kind of looked like something else after that, offensively anyway. But listen, they were, for them to come in there and kind of and throw them up like that and do what they did, that's big for it. Now the defense, again, I felt like obviously the Baylor game, you've got guys in the wrong holes. They're not going to the right places, and that just goes to show that I'm not necessarily wanting to blame coaches on that though either. Coach Roybal, or Philip Roybal, as you guys are seeing in there, he's a coach. He coached in Texas football for a long time, Texas 6A. He knows what he's kind of talking about on that kind of stuff, and he's coached guys that have went to Oklahoma and Texas and everywhere else, all over the country. So this is a guy who knows his stuff. Coach, tell us what you think. I mean, I'd love to have you. I've still been wanting to get you on the show, but something I wanted to ask. Where is it that, defensively, when you're trying to learn, you're going from one defense to another like that, can you see where it would take an entire year or the better part of it? Or, how much are you expecting them to get better from week to week even? And we're still talking about kids, they definitely look a lot better now than they did 2 weeks ago. I would say that anyway. Again, South Carolina takes down Tennessee, though, tonight. And I would tell you, yeah. See, Coach, and I agree with you. I know Bryce and I were having an argument this last time out, one of our shows where he was saying that it was a lot easier to coach defense than it is offense. And I think that's ridiculous because of these offenses being as sophisticated as they are, and these kids are a lot more polished than they used to be in the past. These guys are doing things that are, you weren't doing that even when I was a kid, and so I feel like it's a lot harder to coach defense as well, and particularly when you need some beef up front, and that's not what they've been doing. With Alex Grinch, it's that speedy. They need little guys. So, Bobby, let's see when to go Autobahn and when to go gridlock traffic. Yeah, B. Manning. Yes, sir. I agree with you on that. And again, you know what, guys? I really feel like a lot of this stuff is just one of those things where you're gonna have some growing pains, and on top of that, even with Coach Venables, I mean, this is his first time as a head coach. He's been coaching for a long time, but I don't think that at any point that there's ever going to be a time that a brand new head coach is going to get it perfect right off the bat. It's just, I've been saying this a lot, that the expectations were a lot high. Again, I feel like this was big. They had Hicks in there. They had David Hicks who came in to take a look at the school. I believe that that's going to change. Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. I do, and I think most of these guys in here, I think most of us are on board with that. I don't. None of my audience has been the type, that have. You've got a few guys that come in and troll, but most of these guys in here are smart enough that they know that it's going to take some time. I don't know how much you go on Twitter or anything like that, but it's crazy in there. And there are some people, and even on Facebook, that have had expectations. Yeah. Listen, again, if you do things a certain way, you do things a certain way. And this is the way. Yeah, definitely. If you do things a certain way, you do things a certain way, though, guys, and I agree with you, though. I would love to just see them run the football more, just run the ball. There's a point in time, and, and spread coaches are like this, man. And that's the one thing about spread coaches. I love the spread offense. And I think that part of it is that I think folks got used to the fact that Lincoln Riley runs the football out of the spread like no other coach does. I think you see that Garrett does the same thing at TCU a little bit, but that's a new thing. I mean, if you're talking to Mike Leach, he hates that crap. He doesn't want them, running the ball so much. I feel like once they get the guys that they get, yeah, I agree with you, Coach. I think, yeah, and we've been saying that a lot on this channel. We've been saying that a lot. Once these guys get the recruits in that they're looking for, they're going to end up with who they want. And I mean, look, Coach Bates, 2020 Recruiter of the Year. He's had 9 All-Americans on the defensive line, and you had people that were saying he was terrible at recruiting. That just goes to show you how out of touch some of these fans are. Some of them are completely out of touch. I agree with you. And look, I would think that you got to give them until, yeah, yeah. I know you don't like to admit that, Coach. I agree. Hey, and your Notre Dame Fighting Irish have turned it around this year. Look at that. But I would say that, look, I think most of us in here have said quite often that you would have, I mean, year 3 is the year that we want to see real results, where you're, and that's, I mean, look, that's when you're going into the SEC. That's when you want to see that these guys are doing things the way that Brent wants to do them. And I mean, you can't argue with what he's done as a defensive coach and these other guys that have coached with him, what they've done. I mean, 8 out of the last 10 years, they were a top 10 defense nationally 8 times. The other 2 years, top 20. They know what they're doing. They've put multiple guys in the first round of the draft. They won 2 national titles. Listen, I don't care. We know, as Oklahoma fans, that offense isn't enough to do it. I'm not agreeing with you on that, man. I'm not agreeing with you that he sucks, man. I'm not. I think that he has his moments, and I think all freaking coaches, especially offensive coaches, man, they go through their moments. But again, a lot of these are RPOs. We're talking about run pass options, and that kind of goes on Dylan. And I've been quick to defend Dylan Gabriel, but I think this was, I mean, after that first quarter, he struggled, man. He really did. And I feel like it was one of those deals where you just kind of, you go through it a little bit. But folks, again, let's not get too crazy about this. They won the freaking game. They gave up 13 points. When is the last time, and this has happened multiple times this season, when's the last time that you could say that an Oklahoma defense gave up less than 30? When is the last time? I agree with you, Coach. He was the coordinator of the number 1 SEC offense in the country, or in the league last year in the SEC. I know that Lane Kiffin was pissed that he lost him. Give it time. And look, folks, you people that cannot wait. Yeah. Thank you, Rory. Yes. Look, although, and here's the other thing. We want to sit here and bash on those guys, but he didn't go in there and throw freaking 3 interceptions in the first quarter, and it should have been 5 of them, really. Spencer Sanders, to me, that dude it's the whole program. The whole program over there at Oklahoma State, it's just a choke job. Every time they get in a position that they need to win a game, you can bet on them losing that game. Every time. Every time. Wind your clock by it. That's what's going to happen. Every time. I mean, it was funny to me after they beat Texas. That whole next week, in the press conferences, they're talking about the amazing, or they were just giving him all this love in the what was it they were saying? Oh, just talking about the way that they do, what he's built there. And I'm like, dude, you've beat Oklahoma 3 times in your career in 17 years. Now 3 times in 18 years. Get out of here. At UCF, it was Heupel's offense, and Ole Miss, it was Kiffin offense. Yeah. And I don't even think that he's having that hard of a time, What are you saying? Except Notre Dame last year in the bowl game. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, that surprised me. But did Notre Dame? But here's the thing: they had just lost Coach Kelly right there. I know that they loved, and he was the defensive coordinator. But that's kind of a tough deal. Does Farouk have butter hands? Hey, listen. So does Marvin Mims. These guys have dropped a lot of footballs, man. These guys have dropped a lot of footballs this year. There's a lot of these games. Again, the West Virginia game last week. If you don't have uh, Braden Willis, and he dropped a pretty easy one tonight too. But if he's not a foot over that line there, no, it wasn't, Coach. I don't agree with you on that. I think he's going to go win now. It's harder to get players at Notre Dame. I'm not in agreement with you there. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. I know everybody hates him, and I mean he's a douchebag kind of, but I mean I get that. They all are, though. All these freaking college coaches are like that. I mean, it is what it is. But that dude has won places that he's a good coach. I think he's going to get his butt handed to him in the SEC championship game, but I don't know that it's going to matter now. And I feel like, folks, this is what I want to ask you about. Now, let's see. I was looking at now, obviously, Tennessee's out of the running. Losing that game the way that they did, there's no way that they get in. So Michigan almost lost today too. They ended up winning by 1. TCU, they looked odd at times, but of course that's a rivalry game with them and Baylor. So I'm kind of giving them a pass, but let's kind of run through that a little bit on what happened in that game, because it was what a freaking ending. I just really want to kind of go through some of that, but we'll let me just kind of pull that up here real quick. Here it is. So obviously we don't have to go through this whole thing, but it seemed like TCU, I mean, Baylor kind of every time they had a chance to kind of go further ahead, they kind of screwed it up though, and then Max Duggan. And here's the thing, TCU, these guys, Baylor definitely makes you play ugly, but these guys at TCU are comfortable playing behind. They do not care. I mean, that's obvious. Is there a game that they've been ahead of early, aside from obviously the Oklahoma game? I mean, because these dudes do not have a problem with playing from behind. What the hell happened now? Okay, more technical difficulties. I hate these things. So, just like there, they could have went up and they freaking choke it out. Damn this! I hate this thing. So, TCU takes the lead, and then they end up giving up a couple of touchdowns after that. And this was just weird. Like this one right here. This is a 3rd and 3 right there. You're probably going to get a field goal there, and you go and make a stupid play like that. They get in the end zone right away. It just seemed like they did that kind of stuff the entire day. And I think that with Baylor, I don't think they're heading in the wrong direction necessarily. But yeah, what is this? TCU's game-ending field goal. You know what? They didn't. The one thing I'll tell you about what Sonny said there, James, is that it's kind of weird that he said that and they looked pretty relaxed to me. I mean, again, I feel like this is a team that's, I mean, look, after you came back from 18 down against Kansas State, you came back from 17 down against Oklahoma State. I mean, they're not scared of it, and they've been down in pretty much every game. Even the Tech game, they struggled early, and then they looked really good. But what got me was, I mean, it's coming up. Look at this. I mean, they're kind of hustling off the field, but look, they don't really look like they're worried. Line up and boom. He drilled that sucker right down the middle. I'll tell you that. He drilled it right down the middle. Hey, Coach, what do you always say? Kickers and pole vaulters? Kickers and pole vaulters, man, you don't want to be around them. They're crazy. Hey, one of my first sports editor jobs when I was, just a journalist, Coach Roybal was the head coach at the school that I was there covering. They're all nuts, right? Yeah, he says that kickers and pole vaulters are nuts. This guy's one of my favorite people to be around. But yeah, Bobby, Spencer Rattler was on fire. It's a wonder why you never saw that in big games around Oklahoma, but But yeah, and Baylor makes you play ugly. But I felt like that they gave up a lot of opportunities, and they've done that a lot this year. Yeah, dude, I felt like I'm with you right there. I didn't see the dude care at all. It was like he looked like he just walked up there and he was like, let's get it. Who was that guy that back in the day, was it Vanderjack that used to have it doing the money signs? Or is it the guy Justin Tucker that does that? One of those kickers that do that, man. They are nuts. And that's why Coach Roybal says, he goes, man, you can't hang around with kickers and pole vaulters, man. They're just too crazy. And I used to laugh so hard when he said that until you go around a kicker or a pole vaulter. You get it. I mean, look at Pat McAfee. That dude's nuttier than squirrel shit. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But look, so now they hung on, but Tennessee's now out of it. Michigan tried to lose it today as well. Ohio State, they struggled with Maryland most of the day. They ended up winning 43-30. I mean, Georgia only won 16-6, but it was a nasty weather down there in Kentucky. But look, everybody's over there complaining at North Carolina. Mack and them were over there complaining about them not getting any love from the playoff committee. And then look at what they do. At home, they lose to Georgia Tech. Bye, Mac. Nobody wants to hear it. Ole Miss got housed. 42-27. It really wasn't that close. Of course, they were on the road. But I think and here's the thing. I've been saying this a lot, man. I don't give a crap what they I don't really care what how much money they're giving these teams to go in there. The Big Ten is a trash conference, man. It's a trash conference. I'm not aside from OSU and aside from Michigan, Penn State is but the rest of them, trash. I mean, is that who it was? Is that was the kicker that did that? I was sure it was somebody else, man. But that was funny, man. I remember, was it Vanderjack that Peyton was going off on? Is it got all liquored up and started running his mouth? Was that the one it was Vanderjack that they got on that one? That was funny. Every once in a while, you get Peyton all kind of pissed off. I still love the one where he's over there screaming at Jeff Saturday on the sideline, telling him to shut up about wanting to run the football. Yeah, Peyton. Oh, Peyton. Okay, so again, look, I mean, folks, we're looking at it's starting to get a little different. And does that bring did Alabama just come back into the playoff picture? Because I think they might have. Clemson may have got themselves back in it. They win 40-10, even though they got beat pretty good by. I mean, Notre Dame turned around and beat up on BC today too, but they generally do that. Louisville knocked off NC State. Penn State, nobody cares about that one so much. What I'm wanting to see is who is doing what in this USC game. So, SC. Man, I was really hoping that Lincoln was going to lose that one today. 48-45, SC handles it. Damn. I was thinking since he threw the game last. Yeah, you think? Oh yeah, they play Notre Dame next week. We'll see. Listen, he loses these games. He loses, but is it in the Coliseum? That'll be actually easier because nobody goes and watches them. It's weird, but look, I thought they should have lost that one. UCLA got beat by Arizona last week. How the crap you do that? Wow. Washington beats up on them. Oregon, it's only halftime, but they're up 17-3 on Utah. I was kind of thinking that Utah might go in there and do it again, but I think Dan Lanning's the real deal as a coach. But it's in the Coliseum, right? Next week. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Lincoln's gonna lose one. But hey, listen, if the guy wins, it's gonna piss me off, man. He's gonna go over there. Yeah, they do. They do. And look, that's the one. I think really they're the only team that really pushed Ohio State. I mean, Penn State kind of did in Happy Valley a little bit, but when it all boiled down to it, they didn't have anything for them either. You know what I mean? So, but folks, listen, guys, I appreciate you all coming in here, and Coach, I know that you guys are all watching, and Rory, same with you. I appreciate you guys coming in here and checking out the, coming in and seeing the show. But if you would, do jump over to that YouTube page and just give us a subscribe. That helps us out. We're actually almost to monetization. We're way over our watch time hours that we need for YouTube, but we definitely need those subscribers. So if you don't mind, get over there, hit that red subscriber button on the YouTube page. Our YouTube handle is just it's at CFB podcast. So youtube.com/CFB podcast. So that's the channel there. You can go on there and just jump in and hit that subscriber button, man. I'd appreciate it. Listen, guys, obviously, again, it's a big to me. Anytime, especially after last year, I was so watching that game, and I want to know what you guys think. I feel like I was hoping Lincoln never wins again on Bedlam night. Although there's only a couple of them left, apparently, so I don't know how long that would have mattered. But for sure, I would think that, hey, thanks, man. Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, yeah, good call. I'll do that. Here you go, fellas. All right, so yeah, listen, I was hoping maybe after I feel like myself personally that Lincoln threw that game. To me it looked like he ran the same play at least 6 times in a row. And every one of those times in the Bedlam game last year, Caleb Williams was running for his freaking life. And so I feel like that was kind of how it was. But look, I really feel like it was, no matter what, the way that they came out in that first quarter tonight, that was a big deal. That was a big deal for them. And so having all those guys in attendance there, and, we should go through the list here. I mean, we're talking about David Hicks. And I mean, if there's ever a time that you should be able to flip that guy, it's now. Now, obviously, the deal with Peyton, he seems to be strong on Notre Dame, but his girlfriend is going to Oklahoma to play soccer. So Peyton Bowen, the 5-star safety, he also plays with Jackson Arnold at Denton Geyer. And those guys, they look like they're on every time that they've played a good, every time that they've played a good team this year in Texas, they've played their best games. So that tells you how good they are. But for you guys that are wanting to fire Jeff Lebby and do all that kind of stuff, I'm going to tell you now, if you get rid of him, you get rid of Jackson. Okay. So relax on that. Relax on that, because Jackson, you want Jackson Arnold. This guy won Elite 11. Yeah, I hope that they do flip him. His girlfriend went to OU, man. His girlfriend went to OU. Already found him some squeeze at Notre Dame. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But, and then, there was, and they've got, listen, there were 16 2023 recruits in attendance tonight. Of those 16, you're looking at, let's see, they're right here. Damn, man, it's hot in here. So where the hell did I have that? It's right there. So they needed to win this game. Although I said in my video earlier today that I felt like even if, this is a time that you kind of look at it as, okay, well, even if they would have lost it and there was a clear deficiency for some of those positions, and I think that there was at times, but honestly, the defense is really looking a lot better than it had been before. I'm excited about it anyway, but I mean, coming in, let's see, football recruiting, you had Oklahoma, dang it, team. That's the other thing to say about, I mean, for the people that were saying to get rid of Venables, it's silly talk. When's the last time that they had this high of a recruiting class? With AJ Adebawari coming in, this guy is a real deal. The edge rusher there, he's 5-star. He's the number 3 at his position in the country. Jackson Arnold is number 5 at his position in the country, and he won Elite 11. Caden Green, I mean, I've seen some stuff out of him that's unbelievable. Almost Siegel from Crandall, Texas. That guy, I like him as well. But listen, these are guys that these guys that they have offered, and going through some of these guys here. I mean, they had coming in tonight. Let's see. I was trying to get down here real quick. I mean, David Hicks, obviously, big deal there. Also coming to, and they've got LeBlanc coming in anyway. But you also had Ashton Sanders there tonight, and that guy, I don't know how he's a 3-star. Every time I've seen anything out of him, he jumps off this freaking screen. He's a monster, coming to watch OU. Yeah. With Michigan State losing and by Joe coming to watch OU. Yeah, I think that's going to – listen, and we're going to find out a lot of that stuff. On Tuesday, on our live on Tuesday, I'm going to try to get Peyton to come in, our recruiting guy. He's a recruiting analyst. He keeps up with all of that, and we should have heard some stuff by that. He didn't make it? Okay. Yeah, well, that kind of sucks. But I tell you, Ashton looks good, man. This guy, everything I've seen of any of his film, he's a monster. He's 300-pounder. That's what you want, and he's explosive, man. Explosive. So how he's just a 3-star, I don't know, but I hope they get him. Also, obviously you have Caden was the flip there, but Hicks. I mean, how do you stay if you're Hicks? How do you stay at A&M when the rest of the recruiting classes? I guess maybe that's how, because the rest of those guys are transferring out, maybe. But it feels to me, I don't know how either of those guys stay. You also had his teammate coming in as well, the linebacker. What was his name? He's also an A&M commit though too. So I mean, both of those guys were there, and and I've been saying this, and Coach, I still want you to look at that guy that I don't know if you've seen him, Darian, that I've been putting up there. That guy has done amazing things down there in San Antonio. I had on there tonight Cade Hewitt from Tennessee as well. I started off the show with him on there, and I tell you what, he's played for they were a top 10 national ranked team a year ago. He's played quarterback. They're sending guys off of that offense everywhere around the country. They had a flip that went from Georgia to Oregon this year, running back. They had Isaiah Horton, for the receiver that went to Miami. Actually, Woody Washington played there at Oakland with my guy there that we had there earlier. Who's that? Which stadium was empty? Oh yeah, at A&M. Yeah. Well, but they were playing UMass. I wonder if that was. I mean, it could. But listen. Okay, so their next game, they've got one left. We're gonna see, man. We're gonna find out. But I was talking about my guy Darian. Now they got knocked out of the playoffs last night, but he had another circus catch. The guy just broke every school record there was at Warren High School in San Antonio. He led 4 6A districts, the entire region around San Antonio. He led in receptions, touchdowns, and yards receiving. I don't know that there was necessarily, and you've got, and I'm not even trying to badmouth this kid or anything, but when you start looking at, you've got the commits so far, and it looks like we may actually be losing that commitment, but it's Anthony Evans that goes to Judson, and he doubled him up in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Nobody's recruiting him, coach. That's the problem. He got kind of buried on JV last year. The coach's first year, he buried him out. But the guy led the city. He led the region. Nobody at any school around San Antonio is close to him in catches, yards, or touchdowns. And he had 3 touchdowns in 2 games, in the 2 games of the playoffs that they made it in. It is what it is. So, yeah, Damian Sanford. That's correct. Yeah, and then they offered tonight. They offered Hainsworth's son, Albert Hainsworth's son, Avery. He's the one that Cade came in with from and he's going to be a 25 class guy. He's a sophomore this year. But they're looking at he hasn't really. Now I have talked to some of these coaches, coach, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit. But and we've been having some dialogue back and forth with some of them. But Tech, they need him. I would say, but so does the guy don't drop footballs. He catches and he makes a one-hander once a game, at least. And for us Oklahoma fans, we would actually like to see that. He's unreal, man. Unreal player. But again, I feel like where we were going with that is that the stars don't necessarily matter. And I think a lot of it is starting to turn out into one of those money grab AAU basketball kind of deals where you got to pay in before you get your stars. Now, some of those guys, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of those guys that are amazing. And they are 4 or 5 star guys. And I think you start looking at guys like Jackson Arnold. He's the real deal. I've watched 4 or 5 of his games this year, and he's insane. And so is Peyton. By the way, that Peyton Bowens is I really hope they make that flip. He's one of the best players in the country, period, at any position. So, yeah, but it was funny seeing that with I did post that on Twitter, Bobby, about Texas A&M. I was like, I wonder if somebody needs to at this at Hicks. So, yeah, I know you don't want to see that. He's one of the best players in the country. He's electric, just electric. That guy's, man, what a player. What a player. So, yeah, but it was, again, what I was getting to is this is a big day for Oklahoma. I know that they didn't look the way you wanted to see them look after that first quarter. You wanted them to put that away. I did. I'm with you. I wanted to see them run the football. Quit throwing the ball when you're that much. And if you're BV, go get on the headset and tell him, I don't want to see the ball in the air right now. Coach, I know you used to do that. And Coach went from a run heavy in the time that I knew him. He came from Skyline, Dallas Skyline, and he had what did Coach Coach Bradley called it, the sniffer eye, the triple I offense. And it was a run heavy offense, but he had some big boys. But he, when he got to New Mexico, he had some smaller guys, so they went to a spread. It was a tough thing, and there was times that he was like, you better run the ball. I know you were like that, and you kind of have to do it. And you need to shorten the game, and that's the problem with spread coaches is that they forget that they need to do that. Even Cooper used to do that crap all the time, Coach. The games that they would lose the state championship, it was always because of that. Seems like it. But, I mean, obviously Cooper did his thing. But, and I'm not talking bad about him. But, listen, it was a big day. It was a big day for Oklahoma to do what they did. They won the game. They didn't lose it. And it is great. I agree with you. You can run the football out of it. Lincoln's proved that. I mean, that's the one thing that I would say that's why he's basically considered the best offensive mind in football right now, is because of the fact that you can run out of it, and he proved that you could run out of it because those guys were having big numbers all the time. And then look at the time when Adrian Peterson was playing at Oklahoma, they weren't an I formation team. Fellas, they weren't an I formation team. And look at those big running lanes that AD had. Come on. Man, I enjoyed watching AD footage this week. I gotta tell you, because he always had big games against freaking OSU and Texas. Man, that dude was so badass. Man. I missed that. He should have won the freaking Heisman twice. Yeah, you got to run the football, man. You do. You got to run it. You do. When you get a lead like that, you need to run it. So, what else, folks? What else we need to talk about here? Obviously, what's going to happen with this? But the thing is, and he's proven to be a decent runner, but I mean, we're not talking about Caleb Williams anymore. That's the difference, So, but he seems to be in love with the pass whenever he does the RPO. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you do. Yeah, you're right, Rory. You are absolutely correct. Yeah. If they're hitting the hole at freaking 3/4 speed, man, already, it's good. Particularly when you got a linebacker there getting ready to eat them, or a big defensive lineman, So yeah, unfortunately, USC won 48-45. I was hoping and I'm telling you, I do believe that he threw that game last year. I saw the exact same play at least 6 times in a row, and all 6 times freaking Caleb was running for his life. So not for nothing. And they still almost won. He must not have told Caleb he was trying to throw it, because and you shouldn't have. That's the one thing I'm glad that he didn't. But man, I don't think he should ever win on Bedlam Day again after that. Of course, there's only a couple left, so it doesn't matter. I'm just barking. Anyway, what else we got? Anything else you guys want to talk about? You tell me. There's still a bunch of you guys in here, 22 of you. Glad USC won. Why? Roy Ball. I don't like it. I think well, man, it's possible. I wouldn't say no to that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in the locker room or talking to him. I know he looked really good early, and he wasn't scared when he ran it into the end zone, and then he ran again, right? I mean, he almost got himself killed on that one. On that second time that he tried to run it into the end zone, he was short. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. Listen, I hope you guys get him. I hope you guys get him. Definitely, Coach Notre Dame fan from Texas. It's rare. I still think you're a UT fan, though, Coach. Pretty sure of it. Well, you like the Shorthorns. What's up with them? They did blow out Kansas today, and then, of course, they're, pounding their chest about how much better they are than Oklahoma. Fun. It's insufferable. I'm so glad that Oklahoma State didn't win. So glad. so glad. Coach, I'm just messing with you, but I'm going to just do it anyway. We're going to throw them horns down either way. We just have to do it. It's just part of it. In here. I think obviously with now that Tennessee lost, I think they are, if they win out, but they got to win out. They have to beat Notre Dame, and then they're going to have to. Yeah, they do it, but only if they win out, Rory. Only if they win out. And here's the thing. I know people are going to want to discount TCU for always having to come from behind. And like, I'm telling you, they didn't look like they were in a hurry to me. You know, that guy didn't even step it off. He didn't do none of that. He just stepped out there and just drilled that sucker. You know what I mean? And everybody else, I mean, the announcers were freaking out. But I feel like, look, man, you have to put them in if they win out. But could they lose? Yeah. I mean, what do they got next? Who's their last game against? And then they've got their last game of the year. But then they'll have the Big 12 championship game. So they're either going to get K-State, or it would probably be, well, Texas has got to win and have K-State lose to Kansas in order to get in. And I'm pretty sure that's the only two teams that can now. Yeah. So the final game their last game is against Iowa State. It's at home. Iowa State is trash. I mean, their defense is really good, so they should win that one. But I feel like the team that I felt like really gave them, I mean, well, they've had to come from behind from a lot of them, but I think that Kansas State is the best team that could beat them, you know, or unless it's Baylor. But they always struggle with Baylor because it's their rival, man. It's almost like Oklahoma, Texas, man. You just never know. But yeah, I feel like they should win out. They should win out. If they don't, they played with fire a little much. What do you think? I don't know. Do you think that they are going to win out, Rory? Because I'm not sure. I mean, I like the way that Max Duggan's playing, and I like the way that they play. They're playing good defense still. I mean, that's one thing. When you've had Gary Patterson for around as long as they have, they're going to play defense, you know. And then, I mean, they got Riley's little brother and they've got Sonny, and both of those guys are offensive guru guys, man. They're spread guys, but they like to run the ball too. They've got some hard running backs, you know. And if you let them hang around at all, and Duggan will run right through. I mean, he had a couple of running touchdowns today too that were big. You know, I mean, he looked good. He looked good. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? I don't know. Bobby, what do you think about them? Are they going to win out? But here's the thing. Now that Tennessee's lost, does that bring the second team from the Big Ten in? Because I said that I think the Big Ten's trash. I do. I have a problem. You can't keep them out if they're unbeaten. No way. If they do that, they'll revolt over it. They'll freak the hell out, and they should. Look, they've won all their games. And most of them, I mean, they've beaten essentially 6 teams that were ranked at some point of this season, right? Now, you know, some of them aren't anymore, and like Oklahoma State will fall out of the rankings now, so it kind of hurts them there. But when you're undefeated, you can't say anything about that. They still won all the games you put in front of them, and they're the only other team aside from whoever it was, assuming that Ohio State or Michigan doesn't lose before the Big Ten championship. You know, you're going to have one undefeated team there. Georgia should be undefeated, but those will be the only 3. You know, so I feel like you have to put them in there. You have to give them their shot. And what reasoning would you have to not? You know, now there's a lot of parity in the league, and I think that can hurt you as a league because when you start doing a round robin schedule, you just never know. You just never know with them. And I mean, look at some. I mean, Texas lost to freaking Tech. You know, but Texas can lose to anyone. You know, they can lose to anyone, literally. They went out and looked like they should have pretty much every week. They gave Bijan the ball all day. But I don't know, man. I feel like they should be a lot better. I think that Sark is what he is, though. He's a 500 coach. I think that that's their problem. But I don't necessarily think they need to fire him right now. But I just feel like I mean, do you wait 2 more years and he's still a 500 coach? I don't know. You're going into the SEC after that and you're going to have a 500 coach? I mean, I think he's going to keep the job because of Arch Manning, and I think that that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I think he's already gone. Losing that game in Stillwater when you had a 17-point lead at one point in the late in the third, you lose a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter to Texas Tech. It's Tech. Come on. And I think Joey's a good coach. I just don't think it matters. I just don't think it matters. Gundy has got to go. He's terrible. From a Sooner fan. Hey, look. I said, hey, look, if you've ever watched Morgan, I don't know you very well. I hope thank you for your comment, and I hope that you become a subscriber as well. If you have watched anything on this channel, I am the first to tell you that I hope he stays at freaking OSU forever, because the dude is going to lose every game that matters. The more it matters, you can wind your clock by it. They're going to get their ass kicked. It's just going to happen. That's what they do. Deer in the headlights. And that's exactly what they looked like today, was deer in the headlights. Sark is overrated. No, I think he's a 500 coach. He's rated what he is. He shouldn't have got the job. He shouldn't have got the job. I couldn't believe that they gave him the job over, and Herman was actually getting it. That's hard. You know what? That's the one thing I would tell you, is that's really hard. Yeah, they should give Gundy a lifetime. They do. He's got a 5-year over it. Every year it renews for 5 more years. He's beaten Oklahoma 3 times in 19 seasons. In 19 tries, 3 times he's beaten them, and he still got his job. He's won 1 conference championship when they didn't have to. Yeah, Oregon could, but they've got those 2 losses, though. You lost pretty big to Washington, and they got housed by Georgia. I think them losing last week, had they not have lost that game last week, maybe they get around it. But I already think that USC's there. Now that Tennessee lost, if USC, if they win out, they're definitely in. Even though they played nobody too. And the one team that they played, I mean, so far, of course, they beat UCLA tonight. Barely. But yeah, he's terrible. Mid. At best. At best, man. All they got to do is, I mean, what have you ever heard of a major college football job that you don't have to beat your freaking rival at least every once in a while? I mean, well, you math majors out there, what is the percentage 3 of 19? It's a good question. They do have talent. It ain't at quarterback, man. I'm not a Spencer Sanders guy. That guy chokes in the big moments too. Maybe it's because of Gundy. But, I mean, look, Big 12 championship game, 4 interceptions. They say we lost by 6 inches. No, you didn't. You lost by 4 interceptions and 6 inches. You should have won the game. But you can't have it. And then you go out and I mean, he should have thrown 5 picks in the first quarter of the game tonight. He had 2 of them that were dropped. And another one that the guy didn't really know that it was right there. He could have grabbed it too. What? Oh, yeah. They can't lose though. Yeah. No doubt. Yeah, Roy, you're right, because yeah, man. But think about that. There's these 3 of the 5 losses. I mean, obviously nobody wants to even talk about the one or either of them, really, the bad ones. But if you think about this for a second, if the defense just keeps them below 440 yards instead of 500, they win that one against K-State. If they don't give up 300 yards to Baylor 2 weeks ago, they win. You know, the interceptions happened early. They had chances to win after that. And 2 of those interceptions were tip balls, and one of them was a freaking interference. So it is what it is. But again, he needs to not have those. But I'm saying I felt like it was one of those dudes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, and he does that, man. But and I'll give him this. He's been hurt. But the best thing about what Spencer has always been is just that he's mobile and he's trying to throw, and he was making retarded throws, stupid throws. You can't make those throws. And he's not going to stick. He wasn't going to stick Gunner out there. I can tell you that. He wasn't sticking Gunner out there tonight. But no, Bob, you're right. They can't slip. If they do, yeah. That was funny. That's funny. What is this Michigan coach what? What does that mean, Jimmy? Michigan coach what? Proud of our defense. Yeah, no, they finally, you know what I mean? Finally. And it's like they started to look better last week too, and they've had glimpses. They've shown glimpses throughout the years. They didn't make the big mistakes. They made a couple, but they didn't make a bunch of big mistakes, you know? Yeah. He won 15% or 85% losing percentage. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So how many major college programs would put up with that crap? Think about Michigan and Ohio State. Lloyd Carr was winning. He won a couple of Rose Bowls, but he hadn't beaten Ohio State in how long? Bye. Get out. You know, he's one of the winningest coaches of all time. You got to beat him. Oh, yeah, beating rivals. Yeah, no, listen. And they weren't doing anything. I mean, how many coaches did they go through with that before they finally did? I think, okay, Vinny, that's a good question. That's where I was at on that. Now that you had Tennessee lose, assuming that they don't lose another game, because Michigan tried to, and they lost their running back today. It didn't look good. I don't know what's going to end up happening. They could, though. I feel like they could. Here's the deal. So say SC loses, and you've got a two-loss Pac-12 champion. I mean, I don't know. I don't think the Pac-12 is any better than the Big Ten, but I think the Big Ten is trash. You know, I've been saying it a lot, but I'll keep saying it. I don't think that, because, and I got to tell you, Brett Bielema, I wouldn't even think about hiring that dude ever. I think he's the worst coach, but in the Big Ten. For some reason he keeps getting jobs. And I knew that, I mean, you know, it's Illinois, and I mean, they're beating up on, but you've got schools like, I mean, that one side, Purdue's the best team on that, in the West Division, and they're trash too. They got housed by Syracuse. I mean, Syracuse was good for a while this year. They've fallen off now, like they should have, you know, and even though I think they're improved, but you can't get beat up like that. And then, I mean, what, Maryland and freaking the best 3 teams and really 4, if Michigan State is what it normally is, they're all in the east side of that conference. I don't know what they're going to do with UCLA and USC when they get them there in 24. I'm guessing it's going to realign things, or they're going to be on the west end. Are they still looking to where they're going to have Oregon, Washington, any of those teams that are, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's the Pac-10 without, or the Pac-12 without SC UCLA. I don't get it. I don't understand that. It's going to be a weird deal. You know, it's going to be a weird deal. I think that if you're USC or UCLA, you kind of want to have some other teams from that side of the country, so that you don't have to make those trips like that every week. It's a long man way, and you're not ever going to have your fans come and watch. They can't just roll up the coast and go watch you. You know, it's $1,000 trip every time. I don't know. Yeah, no. Well, and it won't be a 2-loss Big Ten team. It'll be a 1-loss Big Ten team. Yeah, and look, yeah. I think that because you have those two teams. I mean, obviously they've been dominant. Aside from today, Michigan kind of squeaked by. You know, they lost that running back. They had and they're going to have one of those games anyway. That's how I like Harbaugh as far as how he coaches. But yeah, I think he's a great coach. But I also think that he, dude, Spencer Rattler was. Look at it. I'm going to show you his numbers. He went off. Where the hell was that? Whenever he was at Oklahoma, I never saw that out of him. Was he 30 of 37, 438, 6 touchdowns, no picks? 30 of 38, bro. Yeah, I think that could happen if TCU loses. So, Vinny, to answer your question, in my opinion, if TCU loses, then that's what's going to happen. Assuming that, because now that LSU, does this bring? Here's my question for you guys: does this bring Alabama back into the picture now? If we're going to end up having a 2-loss team in there now, who's it going to be? They're not. They are not going to put in 2 teams from the Big Ten before they put in 2 teams from the SEC, or are they? Oh, freaking! Yeah, that was definitely the best game of his life, bro. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Guys, if you're not already subscribers, Vinny, I don't know if you've been here before. I appreciate you showing up and definitely asking questions and interacting. If you hadn't hit that subscriber button, please do, fellas. We appreciate that. I'm almost to monetization. I'm really hoping that we get there within the next month or so. Look, this is the things, and this is what I kind of worry about, and this is what I want to kind of Clemson's going to be right in it. You're right. Even though they got beat up on like they did by Notre Dame, that's still their only loss. If they finish it out and they turned around and they did what they needed to do against Miami, I think Clemson's definitely going to be there. Yeah, because they're Clemson, I guess. Even though I think that they're definitely shaky. Thank you, Vinny. Appreciate that, man. I would say that, yeah, Rory, I think you're right. I think you're definitely right. I kind of forgot about him there for a second, so I didn't really consider that. Hendon Hooker definitely, it looked like he tore that ACL today, man. That was ugly. Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is what were they, 6-4? I mean, they had a better record than freaking anybody else that we like, around here, and in the SEC. And in the tough part of the SEC, their one bad loss, really. They had to. They lost to Arkansas pretty ugly early in the year, and then they got housed by Georgia. But they've been in every other game. Went down and won that Kentucky game. That was big. Of course, they beat up on A&M, but everybody does that. I just feel like, we're looking at – I think you're right, though, Roy. It has to be – but here's the thing. Okay, Guitar Man, you're right. I think they want to put – they've lost by a total of 2 points, 2 games. And both of those other teams now have 2 losses as well. And LSU, unless LSU – okay, so if LSU was to go in and beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. No, I like Harbaugh. I think that what I think is that he has a game once a year where he kind of struggles with it or whatever. And what I feel like is because right now the Big Ten is just, it's worse and worse. I mean, if Maryland is that next level team or whatever that we're talking about because of Tua's brother, then I feel like you're probably, I just think the league is garbage, man. I just do. But that being said, I feel like you're going to have one. You're going to have when you're playing a round robin type of schedule. They're not playing round robin, but I feel like they definitely have to. He's going to have a tough game every year. That's all I was saying, DJ. I feel like, and I like Jim Harbaugh, man. I'm a Niner fan, so I was happy. I liked him as I was really pissed when they let him walk. You know what I mean? He went to the Super Bowl and went to 3 straight NFC championship games. The guy knows how to coach. And I think that now that he just signed a new 5-year deal yesterday too, as a matter of fact. So he ain't going anywhere, you know. But I think that, and he finally beat Ohio State last year, you know, and he thinks he's going to do it again. And who's to say Ohio State's kind of struggled with some teams that you're kind of like scratching your head about it, you know. I think Notre Dame's a lot better team than they were. You know, did that game put him into the NFL? I think he was going to go to the NFL anyway. I'm still not a big fan. Still not a big fan. I think he comes up small most of the time. I mean, he had a great game today. I'll give him props on that one. He had a great game today. So, you know, I mean, you go 30 of 38, 30 of 37. Whew. 6 touchdowns. Pretty salty, man. We'd have taken that today. We'd have taken that today in Norman, huh? Be happy, Sooner fans, because you know what? I bet you we at least get one of those guys to flip. At least one. And if you do that, you're in the top 5. You're in the top 5 in recruiting, guaranteed. They've already got the best recruiting class they've had in probably a very long, particularly defensively, and probably ever. So you get one of those guys to flip, Hicks, and here's the deal: if you get Hicks to flip, his teammate's going to flip too. He is. He followed him on their recruiting trip to Oregon. He followed him to A&M. When he made the choice at A&M, he was going with him. It's what's going to happen. So if they get Hicks, they're going to get that linebacker too. That's who you want. I think that they should definitely put the squeeze. They should go get Ashton too, the 3-star defensive tackle. He's a monster and he is explosive, man. I think you want him. Did that answer your question though? What I was feeling? I feel like that he's going to have one of those days. I don't know that he beats, but I'm going to tell you who I really think is. I think he's probably the best coach in the Big Ten. I definitely think he's the best coach. Yeah. I think that you could get them both. I think you could. Well, I mean, Bowman's his girlfriend. I mean, it depends on how much he likes his girl. You know, does he like the chick? You know, you can get a different woman when you get to college, though. So who knows? Who's to say? I don't know. Here's the deal. You would think that he would want to go, you know, and play for BV and those guys because of their defenses and what they are. But then again, a lot of people like this Notre Dame coach too, man. Great win. Yeah. Hey, it's a win. It was a needed win for that, for sure. You know, and I don't think any one of those guys came in there. I remember Sammy Omosigo talking earlier this year about, hey, we're still in it. It gives us an opportunity to play a little earlier. Girlfriends are undefeated. Are they though? You can replace them if you're a freaking 5-star athlete. If you're a 5-star football player, you can kind of have whoever you want. But that being said, I'm kind of with you, man. She's a pretty girl. And I also think that obviously if they go and win the state championship, which it looks like they are on a collision course with that state championship, that's going to happen. They don't have to go through Westlake this year because they're in different divisions than 6A over there. You know, I think that's a possibility. What I was about to say about Harbaugh, so I do finish my thought. I think he's the best coach in the Big Ten because I'm I'm not a believer in Ryan Day so far. I think that he knows how to coach offense and they're recruiting, but I think that they have shown that they're not. They get worse the further Urban gets away from the program. They're not getting better. They lost for the first time in how long to Michigan last year? Urban never lost to him, not once. I mean, you're supposed to lose to him every once in a while. I get it, but I mean, Harbaugh hadn't beaten Urban. He was close a couple of times, but he didn't. Mm-hmm. And they have basically the same team that they had, and they choked away a couple of games. I don't believe in Ohio State that much. I don't. I like their offense, and I think that they got a good defensive coordinator too. But I just don't think that Ryan Day is that good a coach. I don't think he's proved anything yet. I think that he's Lincoln Riley. Not a lot of substance. Yeah, I don't think it was good. DJ. I think part of it is if you're an RPO team, you're going to continue running the RPO. Now, what you have to do is put him in a position where he has to hand the ball off, or do something. Do something. Run out of the shot. You got to run. You need to run the football, and it's particularly when you've had Eric Gray playing the way he has for the last 5 weeks in a row he had 100-yard games. I'm pretty sure that came to an end tonight because they weren't running it. And he had some big runs, but I mean, they weren't running it. Man. Freaking. 17-all. Utah's back in it. So it is 1:45 left in the third, 17-all. Yeah. So both of those teams have 2 losses, so they're going to end up. One of them is going to have 3 after tonight. They'll be out of the picture, but I could see one of them getting in. I think that if Clemson wins, though, they're going to obviously make it in, and then we'll see what happens. Other than that, TCU's got to. I still believe TCU has to win out, or they're screwed. They're not going to let them in. There's too many teams. They'll stick Alabama in with 2 losses before they'll put them in with 1. Guaranteed. Who doubts that? Anybody? Yeah, I am convinced of that. And same with like SC even, if SC was to lose. Now they've got to play Notre Dame, and I could see them losing to Notre Dame. But I don't know. Wow. See, and Spencer Sanders, wow. He had 381? I have no idea. 4 picks, another 4-pick game. Good old Spencer. You can always count on him to choke. Every time it matters, man. Every time it matters. I love it. Yeah, so Eric had 10 yards shy of 100 this time. He was 20 carries for 90 yards. Javonte looked pretty good. He only got 6 carries, but he had 60 yards, 59 yards. Dylan had 6 carries for 30 yards. So, listen, I mean, I feel like that he had, he had 20 carries, but they didn't seem like that they were the right ones. You know what I mean? He should have had 30, really. Or you needed to give more than 6 to Javonte. And Javonte's looked really good. What? No, because, but here's the thing. Like I said, both of those losses that Alabama has, they're by a total of 2 points, and they're both road games in hostile environments. Like, I've never seen a place that was as crazy as it was in at Tennessee, right? Yeah, it's the same. What you just said, DJ, that is the same thing I've been saying about Lincoln. That you have this facade, and it wasn't just because of Lincoln. I'm not going to sit here and just blame everything on Lincoln. I'm not doing that. I don't do that. Now, I think the way he left was shady. No two ways around it. But what I would tell you is because of that offense, you were able to see that these guys, they kept going to the playoff. And part of it also had to do with the fact that that Texas was trash and Oklahoma State is a constant underachiever. Period. So it looked a lot better than it was. And I think that that's the exact same thing that you're going to see at SC because most of that league isn't great. I think that the best, I think that Lanning's pretty good as a coach. I don't know how great he is yet. He's a first-time head coach. We're going to see. I know that he comes from the Saban tree. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, that being said, the best coach that I know in that league is the best coach that I know in that league in the Pac-12 is at Utah. Listen, the guy has done more with less than anybody in the country even. I think he's a top 5 in the country coach. This guy just doesn't do anything but win. And he came from the Mountain West Conference, man. Kyle Whittingham is one of the best coaches in the country. I feel that way. And I'm with you, man. He has to build the program the right way. And that's not to say Shady, he puts shoe polish in his beard. Does he do that? You think so? Why would you do that, man? I go gray, man. It's pretty. Chicks dig it. The salt and pepper, man. What's up with that? I don't understand it. Listen, it's just weird, man. I just don't think he's that good. I think that he's a lesser version of Lincoln Riley. And he probably has at least as good a talent, maybe better. I don't think CJ Stroud is better than Caleb Williams, but I think that his receivers are better. Marvin Harrison Jr. is unbelievable. And in Jigba, if he was healthy, I don't know how you could stop him, except for that they just don't seem to blow anybody out. You know, I just don't think he's that great. I feel, and again, it's what I was saying about the whole thing with Lincoln. It was a facade. The fact that you had Texas was trash for 12 years, and they still pretty much are. They have one more win than Oklahoma. One more. And they have a loss at Tech. You know, and they're acting like that it's going to be a big deal for Oklahoma. Better win that game at Tech next week. They better. It's important for. I mean, they need to. But what I would tell you is that, I still think that Sark is completely over his skis. He's better off as a coordinator, and I think that that's probably the case with Ryan Day as well. I think if out of the three of them, I think that Lincoln is definitely the best of those three coaches. But I'm going to tell you another thing. I am hearing a lot about him ending up with that A&M job. I don't think he stays at SC for very long. I keep hearing it, man, and I don't know. They're not all really reliable sources, but when there's that much smoke, I mean, and they got that much money, and I feel like unless the Big Ten better get more teams on the West Coast into that league, or else he's going to hate that travel and his freezing ass. You're a freaking West Coast team and you want to go play in the Big Ten. That still don't make sense to me. But they kept turning their nose up at the Big 12, which was weird. Because I think that they could be extinct at any point. They could have killed the Big 12 when Oklahoma and Texas left, which was weird. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's it's kind of a weird deal. But anyway, for you Sooner fans, guys, I'm excited about them getting that win tonight. I think it was a good time to do it. And at least, I mean, they didn't play great the entirety of the game. They got the win, and they did explode. They were explosive on offense and defense for at least a quarter. And they did hold on to the win. The defense did what it needed to do. They held to 13. The offense did put up 28. I mean, if they did that throughout a 4-quarter game, yeah, I mean, look, I saw people that were saying it was going to be like 28-21, 28-24, stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, that wouldn't have surprised you. But, of course, when you see them blow up like that for 28, you would hope they score at least once more, throughout the game, put it away. And those 3 and outs were pretty ridiculous. He'll control it because we will not get out into a 28-0 lead. Yeah, I don't think much of Tech, but maybe not. Probably not. I mean, they hadn't done it much. It's not something that happens a whole lot. It was good to see tonight, though. I'm freaking sick to death after they lost to freaking OSU last year. Oh, I hated it. Hated it. And they haven't done nothing but talk shit all year. All those freaking pokes. All those poke fans, man. Over them. So glad. I bet they shut up now. And they're still not going to win anything. The fact that they're going to quit Bedlam. And Corey said something in Twitter tonight that he was almost acting like that the Big 12 is talking about, because of these new teams coming in next year, that they may not have a Bedlam game one of the years. You got to be joking. They're already not going to play Oklahoma anymore whenever they go to the SEC, and you're going to let them off the hook when that makes money for the league, like real money for the league. Oh, man, you got to quit freaking it. I was thinking that this new commissioner was going to be a lot better than the old one in the Big 12, but if he's going to allow Mike Gundy to run the damn league, then I think he sucks. Because what a joke. What a joke. And I cannot believe that the president of that university allowed that shit either. Of course, I don't believe that they gave him a 5-year perpetual deal either. So, hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Folks, if you would like to help out, as you can see at the top of the screen there, everything in our Fanatics store, you can get up to 65% off everything. And in fact, right now, I was in there earlier today. I bought a pair of the Jordan shoes, man. They're sweet. There's a lot of stuff in there right now that's 70% off. A lot of clearance items and stuff like that. All you have to do is go to that website that's right up there above, bit.ly/HOF Fanatics. You get up to 65% off everything in the store. You can go to, just use that one right there. That's the best way to go about it. Also, again, please do hit that subscriber button. We've got a lot of new faces in here. I appreciate all the interaction, man. I'm in here longer than I normally am. We're on almost an hour and 40 minutes at this point. I appreciate it. And the entire time, here's the thing. You know what? And Jimmy, I appreciate that you're saying that, because you're right. Right? And here's the deal, though. You want to know why they're constantly choking? This is why. Because they play the New Mexico School for the Blind every year in the non-conference. Arizona State was a dumpster fire. They fired. It wasn't really, coach's fault on that. He won more games. Herm won more games than he lost at Arizona State, and it's not a great job. He somehow got blamed for it, but they were bad this year, and freaking they hung with Oklahoma State for a long time. Central Michigan hung with them for, they were getting blown out, but they let them come back. They were within one score. Central Michigan. And they do this every year. They play a trash non-conference schedule. Look at Baylor. They go in and play BYU 2 years in a row, and, they split with them, right? And BYU kind of fell off, but watch, they're going to be real good. The teams that are coming into the Big 12, I'm going to say that they're going to make it hard. This idea that Okie Light has this idea that as soon as Oklahoma and Texas leave, that they're going to win it. That's bullshit. They're not going to, because the only thing that probably made them as good as they were, and just not quite as good as Oklahoma or Texas at some time. They've been beating Texas a lot lately. I can't really say that. But the only thing that made them probably that good was that they had to deal with Oklahoma every year. And so you're going to have to figure it out. Now that you're refusing to do it, you're going to get worse. Okay, I'm gonna break this down. I agree with you on YouTube. Do you think the OU's winning record will be better or dominant? Um, yeah. Well, here's the thing. This idea that the entire SEC is great isn't real. I mean, it's okay. I think you see every year that you'll have a team like Tennessee, for instance, that they kind of come out of nowhere and they win and they win and they win and then they fall off. And aside from LSU, every few years, LSU is a real program, and now they've got a real coach. They got a real coach. That guy was winning at Notre Dame and going to the playoff. Wait until he gets real players. Um, look, I feel like what's going to happen is, and you're already seeing the kids want to play in the SEC, so there are and they recruit well. So yeah, I think if they get a good defense, now I think that what's going to end up happening is you're going to struggle probably after the defense gets built the way it needs to. Can you keep really good offensive coordinators around? Because watch, Jeff Lebby will end up getting a job soon. He will. He'll end up with a head coaching job. Particularly if Jackson Arnold is what we think he is, what he looks like in high school. Now, Jimmy, you were talking about that he's going to be QB1 day one. I don't know that that's going to happen. And that calling for, and listen, it was very clear what we had aside from Dylan Gabriel when he went out. So before you start begging for him to leave or, begging for him to lose his job right away, you might want to remember that, because if let's say Jackson's not ready to start right out of the gate, just like Cade Klubnik apparently isn't at Clemson, if you try to start this guy, then you can have a problem. But as far as the dealing with the transition to the SEC, yes, DJ, I think, again, I don't feel like that these guys are, I mean, you've got your three main programs, and then they're all pretty good, and the fact that you got to play 9 conference games is tough. But what I feel like is that they're going to break it up into pods. I don't know exactly how that's going to work out, but you're not going to have to play Alabama every year or Georgia every year, right? Until you get to whatever the championship is. I feel like that's what's going to happen. And it's starting to look like it's going to be the best teams, no matter what division or whatever you come from in a conference. They're going to start doing that like the Pac-12 does. And they should have already done that at the Big Ten. I don't want to see anybody but Michigan and Ohio State play for that championship game. And they don't ever do it. How many times do we get to see them play against Purdue or Iowa and they're not? I mean, come on, man. What is it? Iowa got to number 3 last year and then promptly lost 3 games down the stretch or something like that. Looked like crap after that, and look at them this year. I don't buy them at all. They lost to Iowa State. That's rare. And Iowa State's worse than they've been since Matt got there. Although their defense is still really good. That guy knows that. He knows defense. He needs to get an offensive coordinator in there, though. He does. But, guys, I think that's about where I'm at. Anything else you got? Anything? I mean, where do you feel on that? What are you asking? Do you feel like, DJ, that he's not going to be dominant, or what are you saying? What do you feel like he should be? Because I feel like I think if you build a defense like you had at Clemson, and you have a coach like you have now in Jeff Lebby, and you're getting quarterbacks, and look at the running backs that they're bringing in. They're going to run the ball, right? They're going to run the ball, and they're going to run it well. If you do that, I don't see any reason why not. And they did it at Clemson. And look, he's learned from Hall of Fame type coaches. He has. There's a lot of people that even would tell you that him, not Dabo, was the reason that Clemson was winning like that. It was because of BV. I don't know that I believe that. And he's still got some growing pains to go that he's going through. Right? So we'll see. We're going to find out. But and here's the deal. I don't think that he's going to be a total failure at all. I mean, I think that look at what happened with Sark. He immediately, what did he go, 5-7? Well, he can't do that. He can, at worst, he's going to go 6-6. He's in the bowl game. So, even if that's just one better, and honestly, it could have very easily been, they could have won. If you think about the 3 one-score losses that they had, any one little thing could have made it go the other way. So they could have won 9 games. And they're not, I mean, listen, he's not happy with a lot of the discipline issues that they have them. He talked about that in his press conference this week, about them having that for the last 5 to 7 years, and he's absolutely right, that they have been among the most penalized teams, certainly in the Big 12. They're almost dead last, and they're one of the top, and they're in the lower half of the entire country in penalties. And they've gotten away with it because of the fact that you have a Heisman quarterback every year, because that's what Lincoln did well. When you win 2 Heismans back to back and have 2 number 1 draft picks back to back, you're going to get great quarterback play from now on. And I mean, look, Caleb Williams is the best player in the country. They don't have much around him aside from his receiving core and stuff. I mean, his offense is good. He's going to take care of that. That defense is like, I mean, they gave up 45 tonight. They won 48-45. Looks just like the Kyler Murray year. Just like the Kyler Murray. If they do make the playoff, they're going to get the brakes beat off them. Same thing. I don't think he's better. I don't know that he's better than Kyler. I mean, he's pretty close. He's the same guy, probably. Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, listen, again, if you look at his track record, they were in 2 national championships that they didn't win. They won 2 with him there. He won 1 as the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. He's been in 8 championship games. And again, I don't want to have to go back through all that, but I'm going to tell you now, there was things that were going on that it wasn't about that defense. There was some issues that were going on. But the defense got bad. Once Mike got back and he wanted to split it back with him after Mike got the head coaching job to begin with, I mean, I didn't blame him for leaving. And I trust in him too. You know what I mean? I can't sit here and tell you that he was necessarily my first choice. And I don't even think he was Joe C's first choice. From what I understand, he wanted Lanning. And Lanning wanted to go to OU. But apparently, Bob Stoops made that choice. That was his choice. Or he pushed for it hard enough. And Joe C's not going to tell him no. That's the same reason, to be honest with you, it's the same reason that Lincoln's gone, because they negotiated Mike to stay too long. And it pissed him off. And he started having to take heat for it. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, guys, he wasn't helping it either on the defense. This thing had to break, man. Bro, I'm going to tell you this. Nobody has ever come back from that much down in the Red River game. And even in their loss, he had 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, man. I just don't know what else to tell you, Jimmy. But I understand what you're saying. And I love Kyler, don't get me wrong. I do. But I'm just saying he's right up there with him. And as far as athleticism is concerned, when's the last guy you saw a guy that can do everything he does? K1's not that big. Even Baker wasn't. And Baker's a great athlete, but none of these guys are that big. I think maybe Sam Bradford would be closest to as far as athleticism is concerned. Sam was insane. Going back and watching the flip game this week, wow. If not for injuries in the league, what could he have been? I think he's probably a Hall of Famer for sure. And then Landry, man, I hate it for Landry because he's from my hometown. Where I love him to death, man. I wish that he would have really gotten a real shot in the league because that guy, he still owns most of the records in, career records in the country. Did y'all know that? Touchdowns, yards, completions. It's unbelievable. Guys, check out my guy Darian Holmes and check out Cade, who was on the start of this video tonight. But check out my guy Darian Holmes from San Antonio and let people know about it. Talk to those guys. If you pay attention to the recruiting stuff, this guy, he got buried a year ago on the JV as a tight end. He comes in and he led 4 6A districts around San Antonio. His team was 2-8 a year ago. They went to the second round of the playoffs this year. He broke every school record there was for receiving. He led receptions, yards, touchdowns in 4 districts. The guy from Converse Judson, Evans, that's supposed to be coming to Oklahoma, but apparently maybe a flip, he's doubled him up in everything. Now, there are different types of receivers. Evans is a speed guy. This guy's 6'3", 195, catches everything that comes his way. Everything. But he had more yards. He doubled him almost in yards. What the hell's going on here? Hot girls here? No. Doubled up Evans in almost everything. And apparently he may be going to Georgia anyway. Apparently they're on him. But listen, do me a favor, go and check out on my Twitter page and stuff. It's all over it. So and I'll put, and it's actually on the YouTube channel as well. It's Under the Radar Recruits and stuff. Him and Cade, and then there's a couple of juniors actually that we've been kind of paying attention to as well. They could help some teams out. There's a lot of guys that go under that radar and don't get the opportunities that they should get. Darian is Division I premier size. For 6'3", running a 4.5 is fast. It takes 4 or 5 guys a lot of times to take him down. This dude is insane. I mean, look, I'll show you one catch and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. B-Man, are you still around here? You saw him. You've seen him, haven't you? Jimmy, have you seen him? I feel like there was somebody in here that was talking about him one day. All right, here we go. You're going to love this one. Watch. I'm going to share this, and then we're going to get out of here. Whoa. Present. Share. He makes a catch like this every freaking game. All right, I'll quit doing that. I missed that question, man. Sorry about that, DJ. Stop. So if OU gets all the recruits we want and BV is the head coach, can OU maintain our future defense? Levy's still on board. Are we good, even competitive? Yes, absolutely. Look, if they get the guys that he's trying to get on that defense, there's no doubt there's his track record with them. Between him and Bates, they're the best at coaching defensive linemen and linebackers in the country, period. Look at the guys that they've sent to the league. They've had 9 All-Americans. I know that Bates has had 9 All-Americans on the defensive line. There's not a single guy he's coached either at Clemson or at Jacksonville State is where he was at before Clemson. Not one guy that wasn't an all conference selection at least one time. Okay, not even once. Yeah. Oh man, let me find. I'm gonna. Now you guys are gonna have me freaking showing you all the video. He's had insane. He catches everything at its highest point, Jimmy. Everything. Where is this stuff? But listen, I really do feel like the thing is that when it comes to I mean, look, if you have a defense like what he's consistently put out there every year, then they're going to be great. And again, even like Coach Roybal was saying when he was in here earlier, it's harder to coach defense than it is to coach offense. And these kids are so much more skilled than they were in those days, back in the days. You've got that stupid thing. You've got the PlayStation era type stuff. I'm back. I don't know what happened. These guys are kicking me out. I'm going to have to, we're going to have to do something about this. I'm not enjoying this. All right. Well, anyway, as I said, wow, man. Now we're getting a bunch of spam in here. This is weird. All right. Well, anyway, guys, I think if he gets the recruits that he needs on defense and they get a little better at that, they're going to be great. Look, if they play offense, I mean, if you put up 35 points a game and you got a defense that can hold them to 20, it's good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And they're going to get, I mean, look, this is it's still a blue blood program. It is. It's just a dormant one. It's kind of a sleeping one. And it's one that looked a little better than it was because of what we talked about. It was a facade. JP was talking about that. JP and Trav. They've talked. I had JP on the show last week, and he was saying the same thing. It was a facade of an 11-2 team. It wasn't an 11-2 team. And it was like that a lot. Even having the one thing, and something that Peyton, our recruiting guy, our recruiting analyst dude, that he's coming on once a week now. He's actually got a project going that he's going to show us on some size stuff. But I can tell you one thing, as they, I was at the Rose Bowl, okay, in 2018. They should have won that game. No two ways around. They should have won the national championship that year. They screwed it up, right? And it wasn't just Lincoln. They screwed it up. But what I'll tell you is if you looked at them and you looked at Georgia, they were about the same size. They were plenty big enough, right? Plenty big enough. They're not anymore. The next year they weren't. And the year that Jalen Hurts went, which I think everybody knew they weren't that good. The year that they went and had to deal with LSU, they were, it wasn't close. It wasn't close. I mean, and if you paid any kind of attention, you knew that. They were men over there on that LSU side. Their offense was fabulous. No two ways around it. So was their defense. David Randa was the defensive coordinator for that team, and he ate their lunch. But yeah, get on there and check out Darian as well, guys. We're starting to get a bunch of stupid spam popping up, so I'm gonna get out of here. But I appreciate everybody. Man, I've been on for almost 2 minutes shy of 2 hours. I appreciate you guys hanging around with me and interacting. It's been great. What'd you say? I got him. Oh yeah, I got during the game, my man. During the game, I was pissed. By the time it was over with, I lost my mind. That was not fun, man. Not fun. And it was awfully expensive to go over there and watch that shit show. And I didn't even live that far away from there. I was in Vegas, so it wasn't that far to go, but it was expensive. Those tickets were pricey, man. I was definitely not going to that LSU one because I knew they were dead meat. Knew they were. I did it 2 years in a row and went to the Orange Bowl also when they went with Kyler, and I regretted that also. That was even more expensive because you had to freaking go all the way to Miami. Sucked. But anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Yeah, I promise you, definitely we're not the only one. We were all drunk then. You know what I mean? I know I was. I was drunk. pissed off at the world. I said when they lost the Rose Bowl game, we were planning on going out and partying and having a good time either way. Nah, man. I went right back to that room. When I walked in, I was at a Sheraton hotel, and I think it wasn't in Pasadena. It was just outside of Pasadena. I probably pissed off the entire floor. I walked in it and slammed it and opened it and slammed it and opened it and I just had to freak out for a minute. I was that pissed. Oh, it was so bad. So bad. Uh-huh. Our guys hit hard and smoke dudes. What? Wait, what? The 2000 National Championship. Yeah, man, they did, man. They did. They were, but if you think about that team, it's kind of, Jager was talking about that a little bit today, that if you remember back to 2000, nobody expected them to do that. Now, there was teams that they did expect to do it that didn't after that, but they didn't expect Josh and those guys to win it. But they were they were some men that played on that team. And you could, a lot of people make the argument that was not really his team. He brought them around to doing what they needed to do. But that just goes to show you too, he went 7-5. He went 7-5 too that first year. And he had more talent than what BV had. But what BV has, as far as particularly on the defensive side, they just don't. Look, from a bad defense, they lost 13 guys off the depth chart. From a bad defense. How is it going to get better? And they have gotten better. They have gotten better. Today was a big step in the right direction, folks. Big step in the right direction. Guys, I appreciate you coming on. We will be back on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m., 8:05 p.m. Eastern time. So that's going to be 7 for you Okies, 6 at Mountain. And I agree with all you guys. I believe that BV is going to get us there. You just got to give him a little bit of time. And also, you got to give this offense a little time to gel too. There's some issues that are not just about Dylan or even Lebby for that matter. All of it takes a little bit of time to come together. You know what I mean? If you look at what they were at Ole Miss last year, they miss them this year. I promise you they do. And I think Jackson Dart is better than the guy that they had a year ago. But what they're really missing is him to help with that game planning and stuff like that. But all right, guys, make sure you hit that like button on the video. We need a lot of likes. I've only got 5, and you guys have had 25 people in here at most times. Hit the like button on your way out. Please, it helps with the algorithm. Gets more people to watch the video. We will see you on Tuesday night. Thanks for coming in.